Hey, we are here with our annual conversation with Michael Rabehl, the programming director of Cinequest, because Cinequest 2021 is shifting to virtual, and it will be online from March 20th to March 30th this year, hoping there will be a later live event, in-person event, once things become normal. I don't know what that was, but we do want to talk about this year's event and the genre films, the films that people who listen and read and watch Fanboy Planet might be interested in. So, Michael, let's talk about this pivot. What's going on virtually? You're here to help.
I am here to help. No, we're here to help. Yeah, obviously we can't do a live event. So the pivot is what other festivals are doing right now and making sure, wow, you see my whole house. So we're making sure that we take care of films. We're showing 111 world and US premieres and shorts and features. And as well as, I think, a total of 198 movies. So there's a lot going on still virtually that we would normally do live, but now we are doing it virtually since there's this thing called a pandemic that you know about, I hope. And that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
You've heard of it. You're familiar with it, yeah.
Well, because last year, Cinequest 2020, it ended halfway through because we were all put on lockdown. We were remembering.
Yeah, we're now known as the festival that stopped halfway through when the pandemic kicked in.
366 days ago, we met in the Cinequest offices and had a farewell toast and like, what are we doing? And what's going to happen? So this is the answer. So it's on cinequest.org. And you can go, and it's through the Cinejoy/Creatix platform.
Yeah. So you go to the website cinequest.org, and there's a big graphic right there. Click on it, and you get the full lineup there. And it's on the Cinejoy platform, which is hosting all the Cinequest films.
Excellent.
And we're here to help.
I know. I just wanted to add that for anybody who wishes to catch. So anyway. Yeah, so you're still going to have virtual Q&As because opening night, March 20th, you've got a couple of guest stars.
Yeah, of course. Opening night, Death of a Ladies' Man with Gabriel Byrne and Jessica Perry, which I found out the pronunciation of her name. I've been saying it wrong for years.
Okay.
I know. But yeah, no. So what we're doing with opening night on a week from Saturday on the 20th. Oh, actually, I don't know when this is airing, so I guess I shouldn't have said that.
Anyway, March Saturday.
On March 20th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we are starting the opening night events with the red carpet with filmmakers. We're doing a bunch of stuff. Gabriel Byrne, the star of the movie, is going to do a pre-show interview live before the film starts, and then we'll show the film Death of a Ladies' Man, the US premiere of it, and then afterwards we'll have Q&A with the filmmakers and Jessica and possibly some other surprise guests. We don't know yet.
That's an interesting idea that you were expressing, that it's Pacific time, but are you doing any advertising beyond the local area? Because I've been involved in a couple of conventions that have been worldwide.
Yeah, we actually, if you look at, there's certain films that are only available in the U.S. That's just, some of them are just only available here, but we are doing it nationwide, and then some films are available worldwide. So opening night's only available in the U.S., but that doesn't change the fact that we're going to have 200 other screenings they could watch during that. But we are advertising worldwide. We are doing events that are actually global too. A couple of events that are going to be broadcast to India, some other events that are broadcast to UK, and so on. So there's a bunch of different stuff that we're doing. We're also doing panels. We could talk about the Maverick Spirits coming up, and more. So there's a lot going on Gabriel Byrne has been a Maverick Spirit in the past Cinequest, so we're not giving him another award. But we do have
it up for him.
But we can talk about the ones that are coming up that are in the festival this year for that, including some other Maverick Spirits who are coming back for events and screenings too.
Yeah. So how's that going to work? Because I think last August, when we thought we were going to have the second half of Cinequest,
only 6 weeks. Pandemic's only 6 weeks, right? It was only 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I recall. And you haven't had pie since, I know. But in August there was a kind of a pilot of this virtual version.
Actually, we were going to do the live event in August that switched to October for the alpha test, kind of thing.
Okay.
Which was basically just films that had been already in the festival, and some new spotlights that were films that were coming out that are going to be released. So
did you do the Q&As then? And
we did. Okay, so we did. I don't remember the exact dates. I don't remember how many there were, but each day had a new spotlight film. So we separate the films out into spotlight and showcase. The spotlight films are the live Q&As, live presentations. The showcase films are some of it are pre-recorded, some of it live, and so on. But the spotlight films are where we're going to have like the higher profile guests, the Maverick Spirits with new films, and then we'll be doing specifically live conversations with those. The showcase films, like I said, are some of them are pre-recorded. There's a few live, and a few that are doing some special stuff too. And those are all available with each film. They tell you what's going on when you look at the site.
Well, I wish that we were able to do this all live, because Cinequest is always a high point of the year. But a virtual version, this pivot is exciting, and the movies are no less interesting and entertaining. And you've given me a look there. But let's talk about the Maverick Spirit, because you got some pretty big names that I don't know if
I haven't told you them all, so yeah.
I know he's been teasing me for weeks, but yeah.
I told you one of them. So, but yes. So one of my favorites that we're doing, we're showing a screening of 6 minutes to midnight, and then we're doing a Maverick Spirit with Eddie Izzard, and so she's going to be doing a live conversation with that on March 21st, 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So that will be something that she'll be doing for that too. And that's a really fun movie, really powerful film also that she wrote, stars in, and actually produced too, I believe. And so she'll be doing that, a conversation for that. The film actually stars her, Judi Dench, Jim Broadbent, and a number of other really well-known British actors. So we'll be doing that live since Eddie is in the UK. We'll be doing that live in earlier part of the day. Most of our spotlights are at 6 p.m., but that one's earlier to work with her schedule.
To accommodate her schedule. Okay. Yeah. Are there any others you can tell us now?
Yes.
Michael?
On Thursday the 20th, let me just make sure I have the date right.
Mm-hmm.
On Thursday the 25th at 6 p.m., we are doing a conversation with Sam Neill of Jurassic Park fame.
Yes.
And his new film Rams, which is it's a remake, but it's a comedy adventure. Two brothers who essentially have not talked for years and having to deal with the issues of their family farms.
Wasn't that like a movie with Mads Mikkelsen a few years ago?
It was, yeah. It's a remake of that.
Cool.
And that was a Danish film originally. And so that's another Maverick Spirit we're doing. And then the other one we're doing is not a new film, but it's a conversation with Darren Star, Sex and the City creator, as well as Emily in Paris. So a really big person for the screenwriting side of Cinequest.
Yeah, he's no slouch.
And so those are 3 Maverick Spirits. The other Maverick Spirits that we have returning, I mentioned Gabriel Byrne already with opening night. We're also, Alec Baldwin's coming back and doing a Q&A with Thomas Jane from The Expanse and Hung for
And the Punisher. Let's not forget him as the Punisher.
I know. I haven't seen that, so I can't talk about it.
Alex Baldwin was the Punisher?
Try to keep up. I know there's a delay on you here, Rick, but come on.
So Alec Baldwin and Thomas Jane are confirmed on a Q&A for Crown Vic. They are actually working on a couple of other actors like David Krumholtz and Bridget Moynihan, but we're not sure their availability just yet. But I know Alec Baldwin and Thomas Jane are confirmed. We are also, for This Is Not a War Story, Rosario Dawson's coming back for a Q&A for that. So that'll be fun too. She was Maverick Spirit here, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
And so she's coming back for the Q&A for that because she executive produced the film.
Well, that's good. Then you can freshen up the Cinequest trailer with new films.
I'm not sure we'll put Zoom conversations in the trailer, but we'll see.
Why not? Because it shows how flexible it's been. So let's talk about movies that are definitely in the Fanboy Planet realm. And without reviewing any of them, because I know the frustrating thing is so many of them we're not allowed to actually say they're great, but they're great. So.
But let's talk about one that I know you have seen, and I won't say too much about it. A Hard Problem, which we're showing the world premiere of, and it is a film that I think that people are going to be very surprised by. I don't want to say too much because there's a lot about it that you don't want to unveil too early,
right,
before seeing it. But it's a really incredibly unique drama. That involves elements that will appeal to that crowd.
That was very circumspect.
Yeah.
And I got to say, it is a great film. I think like 10 people got to read my review a couple of days ago, and then I had to take it down. So on March 20th at 8 p.m. Pacific time, the review for A Hard Problem will go live again on fanboyplanet.com.
Yeah, and I absolutely recommend that film highly because it's just something that really it took me a long time during the submission process until I actually saw it. It was sitting there for a while and then I hadn't watched it. I'm like, I better watch this movie because I wasn't sure. A Hard Problem. Like I don't want to watch a movie called A Hard Problem right now. But then suddenly I watched it. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't watch this sooner because it was that good.
Yeah. Written and directed by a collective team calling themselves Hazard. And I looked it up on IMDb and it doesn't even divide up. It says that it is 2 filmmakers, but doesn't even identify who they are. So I reached out to the publicist and said,
I have the press kit. I have the press kit, so I know their names.
Okay, good. They're real people. It's a great film. What else? Like, midnight movies mean nothing when you can screen at any time, basically. But normally, what would you consider? Like, I don't think I've only watched a few films, but what would you consider like the midnight movie ones that would be terrific to watch?
Biomass. It's sort of an odd combination of a zombie movie mixed with the name of the movie, I'm drawing a blank on it. It mixed with where she goes into the underground complex that was what's her name from Fifth Element?
You're talking about.
Are you saying Resident Evil?
Resident Evil. It's a combination of Resident Evil mixed with Walking Dead mixed with some sort of weird science experiment gone wrong.
Those are all the same thing.
I know. You just described Resident Evil.
Okay. Well, again, apparently it's Resident Evil.
And it's called Biohazard. So,
Biomass.
It's got a Catholic element.
But it's also a little bit of Blair Witch because it's that kind of like found footage kind of feel too.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's done by a news crew.
Yes. Okay.
Anyway, we're showing the world premiere of that, and that one is fun because it builds in a really unique way, where for the first 20-30 minutes you're like, what the hell is going on, and then suddenly it just really kicks in for this really creepy feeling. So that's a really good midnight movie.
Okay.
Another one that I would point out is this rock opera animated feature called Death of a Rock Star.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
And it is all original music that they created literally a rock opera, and then put it to animation, and it's just, the songs are just amazing. It's sort of like a Pink Floyd meets Yellow Submarine. They're movies that are like all
so you're describing Yellow Submarine.
They're all drug trips, I know, but it's that kind of feeling, that throwback to those kind of movies.
That's better. I think, and the thing is, in 2021, it's hard to say it's like such and such meets, because we've already had so many of such and such meets such and such, that now it just is, well, it is. It's a new twist on, or, an homage to, because, and it's interesting as a rock opera, because there's been at least one before. There was Tommy Meets and the Silver Sea Dragon, three or 4 years ago. So that's exciting. I didn't realize that was straight up an animated rock opera. So I'm looking forward to that. So there's a lot of thrillers in there, and there are more apocalyptic dramas, because I just watched one called Everything in the End.
Yeah, there's that. There's two apocalyptic dramas.
Great.
Which Everything in the End, which you saw, which I think. You've seen it, so you know how poetic it is and what they've done with that. But also Echoes, which is a Spanish film, a little bit more whimsical in the end of the world scenario, and a little bit more lighthearted for the end of the world.
Oh, fantastic!
And then there's like something like which you did see, which is called Welcome to the Show, which is this rabbit hole experiment going into this weird, absurd underground world of creating this show with these odd characters who don't really quite know what they're getting into. And that kind of works too for that kind of stuff. But then you have something these are world premieres I'm talking about right now too. Another one, which I think is a really unique horror movie we're doing a world premiere of, called Slapface, which is a metaphorical film for bullying at the same time as being this interesting horror movie, visual, and it's also produced by one of the people who starred in a film we showed a few years ago called Love Is All You Need.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so it's produced by one of the people who was involved with that. He acted in it. He's also the stars in this too. So it's something that there's a lot of people who are returning to Cinequest after having previous films in the festival.
Well, that's really exciting. I mean, again, you can go to cinequest.org and get a full rundown, because there's something for everyone. I mean, and there have been publicists, a couple that have reached out with films that aren't necessarily in our purview. Like, you've been kind enough to point me towards the ones that are definitely genre stuff, but and they ask, we like to expand out, so you can look at cinequest.org. And you mentioned people returning, and that is interesting. I mean, because we've got that is the one good thing about Cinequest, is that filmmakers do come back, and why I miss the real, the in-person version, because it is about those connections, about the community that get built because
we have Adria coming back with One Moment, which is not in the fanboy realm, but it is something that she's coming back with a new film. We have
Adria Tenner, who was in with a great horror short called Pie a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and a restaurateur down in Los Angeles. And I've eaten one of her restaurants. They're fantastic. But I would not eat the pie after seeing that short. But yeah, and she's got I was surprised though her web series didn't come in, because I know you were doing, you've been doing television pilots and web series in the past few years. She's got one called Fetish, the series, right now on YouTube, which is an interesting comedy. Definitely she is a filmmaker creating her own material. And same thing with Welcome to the Show. That's a sitcom actress. She was years ago on Stark Raving Mad with Neil Patrick Harris and Tony Shalhoub. And writing, directing, producing films. And there was another one. The Runner. So we can talk about. We can't talk about The Runner yet, but
but you just can't review it.
No, but I'm going to be interviewing the director of that later this week. So
she's great. She's really nice. I've talked to her on the phone. She's a really nice person. That film, of course, has Elizabeth Rome as
from Angel,
and from Angel, and then Eric Balfour from 6 Feet Under, among other things. But he's like.
And he was the extra member of the Scooby Gang in the first season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was the sacrificial lamb. So. Yeah, he's well known in genre circles. So yeah.
But actually, you were talking about TV web series. We actually have a world premiere of a TV web series, a sci-fi one called Deadlock, which we're showing. And it's a series pilot that we're showing that involves a team of people who go around and essentially stop. I don't want to call them ghosts, but they're the dead, and they're stuck in a loop, and they help them move on or stop them from being stuck where they are.
It sounds interesting.
I will send you a screener.
Okay, thank you.
I had a couple of questions about some that I'd looked through the list, and in fact, Debbie said you're of course going to this one, and that was Hunting Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's a fun one too. Again, another filmmaker who's been here with 2 or 3 films in the past, and the producers had, I think this is the 4th film he's had in the festival. Anyway, that's sort of like a combination of it's a I don't want to say mockumentary because it's really not that kind of flair, but it does combine actors with real life people to create this sort of feel of the small community hunting Bigfoot, kind of thing. And I don't know how to describe it, except that it's a mesh of those 2 worlds.
So it's about people who are hunting Bigfoot.
They're obsessed with it.
Okay. Oh, they're not just regular people hunting Bigfoot.
No.
What about Demon?
Demon, that is a strange movie, but I loved it so much. It's this weird genre, kind of like again, it's like I keep on using this term, but it's true that some of these films take you in this little rabbit hole journey, and it's about a character who is trying to escape certain parts of his life, and he gets caught up in this web of mystery and deceit when he does so, and then he comes in contact with these eccentric characters and really creates this uneasy feeling, but this flow that is comedic at the same time. It's a very dark comedy while being strange and surreal.
Cool. I mean, yeah, it almost seems like we're getting back into the midnight movie stuff, and that's, to me, I've never been disappointed by one of your midnight movie choices, if I can put that responsibility on you.
You can for some of them. One of the ones that I didn't mention is Abyssal Spider, which is this Taiwanese horror fantasy. Takes place on a boat, kind of like Jaws with a big spider.
Okay.
So arachnophobia. No, I'm kidding.
We're going to need a bigger swatter.
So, do swatters work, or do they push them back up? Anyway,
I'm not going to tell you any more than that.
Okay. Well,
Jaws with a big spider.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time tonight to talk with us about this. And again, March 20th to March 30th. Tickets are on sale now at cinequest.org. The prices per film are reasonable. I thought it was just funny that, Rick, you said, Debbie said, you're going to go to this, right? Like, you're going to walk into the Brett Cave and turn on
right here.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. So, although, and this is, let's look at the upside. This is the first Cinequest where we don't have to wear pants. So
that's true. Even I don't.
All right.
Do you think I am right now?
No, but I'm trying not to go any further than that. So thank you, and I look forward to when we all get to meet again, and it will be sooner than a year from now as well. I hope.
There's still Zoom Pi, so
there will be indeed. There will be. We haven't figured that out. Sorry to anybody who's watching or listening. It's just us. It's a special little conclave.
It's a Zoom Pi.
It's Zoom Pi. Whatever. All right. Thank you, Michael.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
And our dreams are bigger than ever before. We love making impact in the lives of youth and innovators and artists around the globe. We really are excited to invite new partners into our Cinequest family to aid the world of youth, artists and innovators in new and exciting ways.
It's a perfect film festival in a glorious place.
Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on any Fanboy Planet videos. And remember, use your powers for good.